Frankie, would you do the invocation?
All bow. Thank you, Lord, for this day, for the rain you have blessed us with. I ask that you guide this meeting and the decisions we make. I pray that what we do is what's best for the Cherokee people. I pray you'll bless our leaders, our employees, and our guests, and ask for traveling grace as we travel home tonight. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Shelley, would you call the roll?
Joe England.
Here.
Pat Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird.
Honey.
Juliet Here. Fishinghawk. Here. Meredith Fraley here. Janelle Fulbright. Here. Don Garvin.
Honey.
Frankie Farkas. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
China Glory Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener.
Honey.
Dick Lay.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
Honey.
David Walkingstick.
Honey.
Eric Allen.
Bonnie.
We have a quorum.
Our first order of business is approval of the minutes of August 13th, 2012. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the minutes can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. State of the Nation by Principal Chief Bill John Baker.
Boy, it truly is an honor and a privilege to stand before you tonight. All the color of the youth choir and their beautiful dresses and ribbon shirts. To have a full house here is reminiscent of our holiday recently. I want to start it off just a little bit different than usual, but I do want to welcome each and every one of you to your Cherokee Nation, to see your government in action. And I thank you so much. We're so blessed with our nation and with people that are interested and care for our people. We're going to start off tonight recognizing some souls that are not with us this month that were with us last month. And then we'll ask for some other names from the council, and then we'll start off with a moment of silence. We have Patty Gardner, Hoover Crittenden, Fred Ritchie, Gary Ronald Bailey, Cody James, Robert Myers. We also have Amy Pickup from the Briggs community, Sam Sanders from Welling, and we have my good friend and Thurman Black Fox, Gina Black Fox's husband, passed away this last month. Does the council have others? Kara?
I don't know if it's the same Gary Bailey, but Gary Bailey of Tulsa, who was originally from Stillwell, passed away at 78 on August 21st. And then I failed some time ago to recognize the passing of Mary DeArmond, who's an Adair, who lived at large in Morris and was a Pocahontas member.
Okay. Are there others? Go ahead.
Taylor Sixkiller.
Taylor Sixkiller.
Wilma Drywater.
Troy Craighead and Mr. Squinch.
Johnny Gray and Virginia Ford from Stillwell.
Any others?
Billy Bird.
Billy Bird. We could have a moment of silence, please. Waddell. It's been a busy month. Today was a good day in the Cherokee Nation. Many of us traveled up to Ramona and opened the new permanent facility It's 3 times as large as it was. It's done a tremendous job in the last year, and we look forward to a great deal of success with the new facility. And anytime you get a chance, you need to head up towards Bartlesville, and on 75 at Ramona is a new facility that we can all be very proud of. Had a tremendous turnout for the ribbon cutting of that facility. This weekend was a whirlwind. We started out in San Antonio and went to Austin and back to Dallas, and met with many at-large community members. Had a really good time, met some friends and family and old friends and new friends, and it was, we ate really well. It was a good time had by all. It was, and before that, Don Garvin had a community meeting over at Three Rivers that was very well attended and a very nice event. So we get to eat early and often. So that's been really good. You know, we came off the Cherokee holiday, and folks, it was the biggest powwow we'd ever had. All the receptions were well attended. The vendors, we had a little trouble with the weather, but it ended up making the parade quite nice. The State of the Nation moved indoors, and we liked it so well, we think we're just going to move it indoors from now on, where the elders can sit in air conditioning and comfortable seats. But I got nothing but really good comments about the holiday. We want to recognize Jamie Hummingbird tonight. He was named the Gaming Regulator of the Year for 2012 by the International Masters of Gaming Law. Jamie's going to be recognized at their national conference in October, and we need to really be proud to have probably the most experienced gaming commissioner executive in all of the United States in Jamie Hummingbird. Jamie's back. You know, we started off the holiday. Deputy Chief threw in the slow pitch ball, and I threw in the fast pitch ball, and I'm sure mine was a strike. But then we came into the Miss Cherokee pageant, and I am so honored and pleased to have Christy Kingfisher with us tonight. Christy, stand up. Christy has served us so well as junior miss, and I'm sure that her reign as Miss Cherokee is just absolutely going to be fabulous. And what a representative that we have to be the face of the Cherokee Nation, to go around and represent us. I just the judges had a tough job, but I think they hit a home run. We also have with us tonight Julie Thornton. She's our junior Miss Cherokee and a senior at Hilldale in Muskogee. And I think they're going to make a team that represents us extremely well. Since our last meeting, I had the privilege of attending the National Democrat Convention and the honor of giving the roll call for the state of Oklahoma, and in front of 40,000 Americans, and it was really quite an honor. Tonight or tomorrow night, we're going to present $455,000 to our rural fire departments. They've had a long, hot season. And they need to be prepared. You know, we've been blessed that we haven't had the wildfires really in the 14 counties. But west of Tulsa was hit extremely hard, and it could have been us just as easily. And those folks risked their lives, and they go out, and I'm so proud that David Thornton years ago came up with the idea of why don't we help fund them and get them from funding with bake sales and pie suppers and those kinds of things. And I was just honored to co-sponsor that with him and get that thing started. And it is really a tremendous for the Cherokee Nation and for all of our fire departments. During the holiday, we had the soft opening of the new tribal membership cards. And I'm here to tell you that I've made it through about 9 major airports showing nothing except my tribal membership card. It's now a photo ID. It has everything on it that you need. I have made it through Secret Service to meet the President of the United States. And so they're available, and we're going to roll them out. We've ordered a new machine that we can take them to our at-large communities all over the United States so that they can get their photo IDs when they come to our picnics and come to our community meetings. And if you're in Tahlequah, stop by. They're running people through these cards just as quickly as they possibly can. And on the back is your white card. So now you just carry one piece. You got your white card and your blue card. I think it's going to be. So with that, I want to turn it over to my good friend, former Principal Chief, Deputy Principal Chief, S. Joe Crittenden, to honor our veterans. Thank you.
And Chief, that's now part of our agenda. So I'll also announce that Joe Crittenden, our Deputy Principal Chief, is going to give the Cherokee Warrior Veterans Award. And you're on our agenda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was handed some information this afternoon that saddens me. You've heard on the news about the young people who have gotten killed lately. It says Claremore, Oklahoma. A young Oklahoma soldier was killed in Afghanistan, according to family members and friends. John Townsend was one of 4 soldiers killed Sunday in what is called an insider attack in the Kabul province. Officials say Afghan police killed 4 American soldiers coming to their aid after a checkpoint attack Sunday. It was the 3rd assault by government forces on insurgents or insurgents disguised in military uniforms in as many days. John Townsend, 19, was a 2011 graduate of Sequoia Claremore High School. He is survived by his wife. He was a United States Army infantryman. Townsend's Facebook page speaks of his love of God, his wife, family, friends, and sports. He wrote the following: "If you can keep your love of God and God passionate, and hold on to that faith, then anger and hate will stay in the shadow." Excuse me. Let's remember his family and their families of all the young soldiers in our prayers, and continue to keep all those in harm's way tonight in our thoughts and prayers.
Cherokee citizen.
Cherokee citizen. Tonight we honor 3 Cherokee veterans. I know 2 of them are here. Not sure about the 3rd one yet, but I know 2 of them are here. The first one is a good friend of mine from Adair County. If Frankie and Jody and Kurt wants to come up and help with this and take a picture, his name is Joe Forkiller. Joe, if you'd come down, please. As Joe makes his way down, I'm going to read about him. Joe was born March the 20th, 1925 in Chalk Bluff community near Stillwell to Grant and Mary Hogner Forkiller, both original enrollees. He graduated from Stillwell High School in 1943 and then enlisted in the Navy. After completing basic training in San Diego, he was transferred to North Island just off the coast of California as a guard for the planes stationed there. Afterward, Joe was assigned to the USS Altamont. He served his entire enlistment on that carrier, most of the time in the South Pacific, with one venture into the China Sea. The ship had made many trips between Alameda, San Diego, and Pearl Harbor to pick up and deliver planes to the Third Fleet. Suicide boats were sent from some of the islands to blow up the ships, but due to the phosphorescence in the water, the trail of the boats glowed and the ships were able to sink the boats. On August 15, 1945, while on their way to Saipan, the fleet received word the Japanese had accepted surrender terms. Each ship made the announcement via loudspeaker to their crew, and much celebration followed. Joe earned numerous commendations and awards, including the American Campaign Medal, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 1 Bronze Star, Navy Occupation SVC Medal with Asia Class, World War II Victory Medal, Philippine Liberation Ribbon Foreign with 1 Bronze Star, Philippine Presidential Unit Citation Foreign, and the Honorable Service Lapel Button. After the war, Joe worked for Boeing Aircraft Company in Wichita, Kansas, and later for Oklahoma Communications and Telephone Data Systems. Retirement brought him back to Stillwell in 1998. Joe married Luella Christie in 1949, and together they had 4 children. Joe lost Luella to diabetes in 1997. He also had 14 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. Joe and Betty Stevens were married in 1998 and continue to reside in Stillwell. And Joe, I want to thank you on behalf of the Cherokee Nation for your service to our country. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Would you like to make a comment or two?
I've got a bad hip and they tell me I'm too old to have anything to do. So I left word with the person over here, if I had any comments, I said, tell all the young kids, you know, educated they need.
Good advice. Turn around and take a picture. Is Tommy Pack here?
Right here.
Oh, okay. Is it Clyde? Let's go with Clyde then.
Okay.
I know Clyde's here. The next veteran?
Yeah, he's here.
Clyde?
We'll get them both.
Yeah, we'll get them both. He wasn't here a while ago, I'm sorry. Clyde, you're next. Come down, please. Clyde Donald Southern. Let's give him a hand. I'll read about Clyde here.
Now, everybody can't wear their old uniform.
Well, that's true. I can't get, I don't even have mine, Chief. Clyde Donald Southern Jr. was born in the Bald Hill community on April the 1st, 1939. And before I go much further, let's have Stick and Joe, and Joe's already here. And Tina, you want to come down and help, or you're on your way? Okay. Upon graduating from Tellico High School in 1958, he joined the U.S. Navy. He did his basic training at Naval Training Center in San Diego. He enjoyed the Navy, and his career lasted for 30 great years. He served aboard 2 aircraft carriers, 1 battleship, 1 cruiser, 1 destroyer, 1 survey ship, 1 destroyer tender, and 1 submarine tender. My goodness, you was on about all of them, wasn't you? He did 2 tours of teaching telegraph teletype repair at the Naval Training Center in San Diego. One tour at the Naval Communications Station in Iceland and retired in 1988 as the Command Master Chief of the Naval Education Center at Newport, Rhode Island. Among his many awards are the Vietnam Service Medal, Second Award, Vietnam Gallantry Cross, Unit Citation, Battle E Award, Armed Forces Expeditionary, Vietnam Campaign Ribbon, National Defense Service Medal, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, Navy Expedition Medal, Navy Achievement Medal, Navy Unit Commendation, Meritorious Unit Commendation, 7th Good Conduct Award, and the Meritorious Service Medal. He received a Bachelor of Business Administration, magna cum laude. Is that the way you say that? Yes. I wasn't one of them, so I don't know. In 1991, from Northeastern State University. He was married to Betty Ann Southern for 45 years, and together they had 3 children, 4 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson. She passed away in 2004. Clyde lives in his hometown of Tahlequah. And Clyde, I want to thank you on behalf of the Cherokee Nation for your service, sir.
Thank you. Cherokee gym and have a great time out there. For any young person that doesn't have an aim in life or anything, I'd say go U.S. Navy. All the way. Thank you very much for having me this evening, and it was a great honor for me to serve the United States and the United States Navy. I had a great career. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Next, we have Tommy Pack. Tommy, would you come, please? Let's give Tommy a round of applause. And Joel, you and Tina and Stick can come down too if you'd like. Should have kept you here, but you probably need the exercise. Tommy was born in Tahlequah in 1966 and graduated Tahlequah High School in 1985. In December, he obtained his BBA from Northeastern State University. In 2006, he entered the Army Reserves, attending training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Later that year, Tommy was assigned to the 362nd Psychological Operations Company in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where he was sent to various military schools. In July of 2009, the 362nd POC was sent to Kuwait in Iraq. In September of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Tommy's duty assignments there were assistant team leader of a tactical psychological operation team in and around the area known as the Triangle of Death. In July of 2010, Tommy returned to reserve status. He re-enlisted in 2011 and has participated in several overseas exercises. His awards and recognition include Army Commendation Medal, Meritorious Unit Commendation, Army Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, and numerous other awards. Tommy lives in Tahlequah, where he and his wife run the Hungry House Cafe. Tommy, that's good food down there. I've eaten there several times. He also serves as a finance officer at the American Legion Post 135 in Tahlequah. And Tommy, on behalf of a grateful nation, I want to thank you for your service, sir.
forward, listening, I look forward to working, doing more for the Army and the military.
Madam Speaker, that's all I have.
Madam Speaker, Tribal Council, if it possible, could we have a 5-minute recess, please?
The chair will take note, and we'll go ahead and be in recess for 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
The meeting will come out of recess now, and I think Deputy Principal Chief Crittenden was finishing up his presentation.
I was going to ask that we give Tommy a round of applause for his service. I think we had the fall, and hopefully nothing's cracked or anything. I don't think it is, but I think coming up now we have Mary Kay and the choir, and they're going to do a couple numbers, and they have distributed their new CD to the council, as I understand, and it's quite good, and so if they're ready, I suppose come on down and bless us.
Not the whole choir, but these are our local students, and we are glad to be here to honor our veterans tonight. And I will tell you that boxes of CDs have been distributed to your district. They're there, I promise, because last time we had some, it was kind of chaotic to try to bring them here. And so they are there in the council house. So if you all need a free one, you can go see your council people. If you want to buy one, come to me. All right.
Uwetijala kijogilos kohiga jigesa dalwa ogilo jejogena sada gotlane no kudalu kwa Oklahoma ahani jalagi ojadel kwai Uwetijala kijogilos kohiga jigesa dalwa ogilo jejogena sada gotlane no kutalu kwa Oklahoma, ani jalagi ojadel kwai.
On behalf of the council, I would like to thank the youth choir for the CDs that you brought by the council house. We would like for you to buy them from them. It's a fundraiser. But we certainly appreciate it. It does. We certainly appreciate it, Mary Kay. Thank you. Looks like no unfinished business, so we'll move on to committee reports. And the first committee report is Housing Authority by Gary Cooper.
Thank you. I hope you don't want me to follow up with what the youth choir just did, or I'll have to go sit back down. Madam Speaker, members of the council, good evening. Let me first say that our September Housing Authority Board meeting is scheduled for tomorrow evening in the Housing Authority offices just off 4th Street in Tahlequah at 5:30 in the evening. I do want to apologize for that date because I did not realize until, it's always the third Tuesday of every month, and I did not realize until about a week ago that it was scheduled for the same night as the firefighter event. Or I would have tried to make other arrangements, but unfortunately it just so happened that those two events coincided with one another, and I do apologize for that. We have been very busy working on the construction of new homes. It has been a slow start, but over the coming months you will see more and more going up, and those will especially be happening in your areas. Last week I had bid out, and I had actually received the labor portions for some bids for up to 50 houses in the southern part of Cherokee Nation. Now, I want to start out by saying that I haven't forgotten about anyone else. That is just where some of the people at the top of the waiting list were. There's a couple reasons we did that. I wanted to know for sure first if it would work, and it did. I can gladly say that we had received a number of bids back in every area. As you know, we have several, about 18 specialty phases of construction that we do, and we had received plenty of bids back on all of those. I can say also that the only specialty part of the construction that we did not receive one taro bid back on was on insulation. That's the insulation for the ceilings and walls. And I say that specifically so if you know of anyone, any contractors out there in your area that does that, I would strongly urge you to get them over to the taro staff, get them taro certified. That is the only area that we did not have anyone turn in a bid in that wasn't taro certified, wasn't Cherokee owned, and that was for insulation, ceiling and walls. So I do want to mention that to you. I do expect in the next couple of weeks that we will be bidding out similar jobs in the northern part. I think just because of the large area that we have in the northern part, we will probably look at dividing that up into the western and eastern part, kind of use Highway 69 roughly as a boundary. Do Rogers, Tulsa, Washington, Nowata counties on the one side. Mays, Craig, Ottawa, and Delaware counties on the other. So if you know of any contractors in those areas who are willing to do some of our labor on our construction projects, I would tell them to get a hold of us, or at least keep an eye on website, CherokeeBids.org, because we do advertise every bid that we put out on that website. Our Community Shield Insurance Program continues to grow steadily with 2,350 families, Cherokee families, participating on that program. That is, I try to keep my report. I had several things on here, but I tried to keep it short because I know you have a lengthy agenda, and I don't think y'all want to stay here all night, but I'll be more than happy to take any questions that anyone has.
Yes, Councilor Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Gary, thank you. It's exciting when we place people in homes, anytime we do that. On your construction bidding,
Yes.
Are you reaching out through the taro list?
Yes, we are.
And at least notifying that this is new opportunities, reminding them of CherokeeBids.org?
Yep, we are. We try to do that every chance we get, and I would safely say that that has had an effect on them, because I would say roughly not quite 20 different specialty items. We received at least 2 bids in each of those specialties. So that's at least 40 to 50. We probably had altogether, it's probably somewhere around 80 bids, and those are different bidders bidding on each one, from plumbing to electric to everything else. So I think that the taro folks do know that we are doing that, and there has been some outreach done.
And it's our housing authority staff or your staff that are operating as the general contractors
Yes.
to coordinate all the subs?
Yes, we serve as a general contractor, and kind of the reason for us doing it this way, get those bids out for labor, is so if we have a house that is ready to be built tomorrow, we can issue a PO for that house. if we have 2 houses that's ready to be built. So we're not waiting. We're not waiting for houses to come in and get ready, you know, the abstracting, the everything else that goes along with it, because it's not just, okay, here's where I have this land that we have to, you know, do our due diligence on making sure the title's marketable and all that other stuff.
And while you were talking, I thought of my question.
Uh-huh.
Wanted to prep you for to make
Okay.
sure you knew, but there's been some scuttlebutt, and I wanted to clear the air. So, first of all, you have to have an acre of land.
Well,
or-
it's best that you do have an acre. Now, there will be some point in time where if you have an acre of land, you get a higher preference than someone who doesn't have land.
Okay.
But you do not have to have land to apply. You just don't get a higher preference as someone who does have land. Now, what will happen is if we go into an area, we have built a few houses on some places we already had land at, just to get all the kinks worked out of the system, make sure that, A, we can do this and that it will go off without a hitch, and I think it will. But as we go into those other areas where we have land at, if we have 5 homes going up on donated sites and we have a piece of property setting over here and we have families for, chances are we may put, you know, a few homes on those sites if it's ready to go.
Okay, and just to make sure, so the Housing Authority or the Cherokee Nation own the property where
Yeah.
homes have already been built?
Housing Authority does.
And we did not buy
No.
land from anyone?
We have
Or
not.
the individuals did not to finance with the house?
No. Now, I wouldn't say that we haven't bought any land, because there is some money that we do have set aside for land purchases, but we have not built, all the land that we have built houses on has been in Housing Authority inventory for a number of years.
Perfect, that clears the air for me. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Mr. Cooper. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Gary, do we have many that are falling in that category of being eligible to apply but do not have the land?
Last time I checked, we had about 41 to 42% of our applicants had land. And that really surprised me whenever we first started looking at this. Is I never expected that we would have that many people who said, hey, we've got land, our family has land that they're willing to give us, you know, we need a house. But we do have around 41, 42% that do have land. About that same number say that they don't have land, but they're willing to take something that the Housing Authority has. And then the remaining part of that is those that kind of says, well, we don't have land. Well, we don't want, you know, to live on land that the Housing Authority already has. Basically, we want you to buy us something on down the road. I don't know that, you know, that will be an option, but we will look at that. But as we have land come up in different places, or, you know, we have some sites going up in different places, we will see, you know, if those folks would take some land. Like, for instance, those 7 houses we built over in Councilman Garvin and Fulbright and Thornton's district over on the county line, the Muskogee-Cherokee County line. There was 7 houses that was already built there about 8 or 10 years ago. And there were 7 empty lots. So it made sense to go ahead and build 7 more houses in there to fill up that addition, so we wouldn't have to worry about raw land just basically being setting out there in addition unused. So I think it was a good move to do that.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gary, on payroll vendors.
Yes.
Are we taking the low bid, or are we doing this by sections, like north end, south end payroll vendors, or what?
Well, usually what we do is we bid this last push, these last bids that I did, it was for 50 houses in the southern Cherokee Nation. It could be for up to 50 houses in Cherokee, Adair, Sequoia, Muskogee, or the portion of Wagner County that we cover. And that was to see if we got enough interest in those projects, and we did. So now what I would look at doing is doing that same thing for X number of houses in the northwestern part of Cherokee Nation and the northeastern part of Cherokee Nation. Because I know it's not fair to ask Terrell vendors to go from Bartlesville to Salisaw to build a house unless they want to, and they have the option to bid on that, but they just need to know up front about where those houses will be, because the Cherokee Nation's a large area to tell someone, hey, I want a bid to bid 50 houses anywhere in the Cherokee Nation. And with the prices of fuel and everything else, that could add up to a pretty big chunk of change for some of our small businesses, and we don't want to do that. We want to be as fair as possible to them. And I can say that I know on several of the bids that we got back, some of the bids were as close as $15. $15 difference between the two lowest bids, and both of them were Taro, both of them were Cherokee-owned companies. So it's very competitive.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Cooper? Okay, good report.
Thank you all very much.
Next report is by Cherokee Nation Businesses by Sean Slayton.
Good evening, Council,
Evening.
Principal Chief, Deputy Chief. Council, it's my privilege to represent our 4,100 employees before you tonight. Reporting on June and July, we've had great months financially on both our gaming and our businesses. In addition to the financial gain from those businesses, we collected approximately $254,000 in tax collections for the nation. As Chief said, we opened Ramona this morning with a ribbon cutting, and it's been open since August 28th, and it's really doing well. It's a beautiful facility, and I would like to thank the administration and council and our board of directors for all the support that we get to do these. Our employees are very proud of what was delivered, and I think it'll be an asset for the nation for many years. We also thank the Shawnee family today that provided the land, and we're very grateful for their cooperation. Tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we plan to open up the new Casino 3 expansion at Catoosa at the Hard Rock. If you'll remember, that's the portion of the casino that collapsed about 18 months ago. It's a beautiful facility. It's 45,000 new square feet of gaming. There's a top tier and a bottom tier, and there's also a real nice food court that's going to enhance the customer amenities that we provide there. So appreciate all the help that we got with that. As you know, that was a near disaster, and we have been about 18 months putting that back together, and it's really a fine product as well. Make the council aware that we do have plans to demolish the Cherokee Inn that's outside of our hotel and our casino there in Catoosa. We bought that several years ago with that in mind. We kept it open for a while because we didn't have enough rooms, and that helped supplement those. But if you've been up lately, you'll notice around us that the community and businesses have sprung up around us. We have 3 nice motels and hotels around that can help up with that. We're desperately in need of parking on event nights, so we plan to raise that in and make additional parking there. And that will be bid out in the near future. I'd like to also make everyone aware that Cherokee CRC has been awarded a contract with the Bureau of Indian Affairs to construct 2 dormitories for the Riverside Indian School in Anadarko. They provide services for students in grades 4 through 12. Nearly 800 students are enrolled there, and their enrollment continues to grow. It was a fixed price amount, $25 million over a 20-month performance period, and we will have all phases of the construction process managed by CRC. Speaking of that, their president and CEO, Cheryl Cohenauer, was named Tulsa Business Journal Woman of Distinction. It's a very high honor for one of our Cherokee ladies, and we're very proud of Cheryl. She does a great job for us. Speaking of awards, Cherokee Nation Businesses was honored nationally with a prestigious PR Daily Award from Reagan Communications last Tuesday. It was for the publication Where the Casino Money Goes, was recognized as best external publication at a banquet in Washington, D.C. Other award winners there in their category was Time Warner, Children's Hospital and Fine Point Public Relations and Advertising, Southwest Airlines, American Airlines, and Weber Shandry. So it was quite an honor to be included in that. As I said, we currently have approximately 4,100 employees. Cherokee percentage is 69.2, with other Native American at 8.1, for a total of 77.3% Native American employment. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions of the council. I'll start on this end. Councilman McKinnon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sean, thank you for the standard report. We get everything. I like that format, and it's easy to read and follow, so appreciate that. Just wanted to ask you about books and cassettes that are pulled from the shelves in the gift shops. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, as I said the last meeting, we're currently going through a remodel of what we have on the shelves and everything. And there were some questions last meeting about whether those books are still available. My instructions have been to make sure that everything that isn't back on the shelf, doesn't go back on the shelf, is available either by request at the gift shops or via the website where they can order some of those. So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Well, one was the Children's Choir CD, and is that true?
There were several of the Children's Choir CDs that were pulled off the shelf. We're getting ready to make room for the new ones that are coming on. And as I said, all those are still available.
Building on Fire and the Moravian book.
Well, I don't know the exact titles, Lee, but
It wasn't just for the holiday?
no, it was, as I said, we're refreshing merchandise just like we do within all of our retail outlets, and so the gift shops and I don't know if it's at the Heritage Center too, but they are going through their material and like I said, refreshing that.
So next holiday, we should look for some to come off the shelf again for remodeling?
Well, we do it more than just one year, but yeah, we annually refresh those.
Thank you, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Other questions? Let's see, Councilman Byrd, or
She's going around, she has an order.
Okay, mine's pretty short. Mine will not take long. Status report on the RFP for the Sequoia County land?
For Salisaw Creek, those, I think they were due August 31st. We had approximately 6 or 8 responses to that, which I was very happy to see. They varied in their response from just a particular piece of that RFP to trying to address all of it. The procurement department last week and this week are currently having what I would call de-scope meetings with each one of the parties that responded to that to make sure that everybody understood what the RFP was and was their bid was a complete bid. And once they do that, I think today or tomorrow, then I'll sit down with them and go through those with them and see where we're scoring those and who had the best response for that. So I would think within the next 10 to 14 days that we would have an award on that, or I would look at it and say, everybody missed the mark, let's go to plan 2 on that. So I think that's where we are.
Any of those happen to be Native American?
I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you.
Councilman Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sean, that's exciting to know that our tribally owned company is helping with Riverside. And I believe it would be in Creek Nation would be where Riverside resides. Is that?
That's in Anadarko.
No, in Anadarko. So there's like multiple tribes, but they're fairly small and don't have as much resources. Not always, but most times, I'm glad everybody, because I couldn't remember where it was. But most time we've benefited when a big company comes in to do projects, and I know government projects are not always really lucrative, profit margin wise. But if there's a way for us to maybe benefit Riverside School, even though it's not in our community, but also serves another part of Indian country for Oklahoma, I think it would be in good spirit if we would give in kind to them or donate some way to that school. Because I understand they don't benefit as much as maybe Sequoia does from the tribes in their backyard.
Right.
So I also have questions. I'm putting in request in for Freedom of Information Act on what Kaylin Free has been paid, because I understand she's not being paid now through the tribe. But I want to know if she's being paid through the Cherokee Nation businesses and how much since my last request, which I believe was like June.
Okay.
Is she under contract? Is it a set amount per month or is it hourly?
That contract is with CNB.
Okay.
It is a third-party contract, like I tried to explain in the ENF meeting, where that relationship is between really the administration's office and her. So getting in, I don't know the particulars of that, but we have paid her. She submits an invoice monthly for that, and then we make payment to her.
So CNB does not give her direction. That
That's
comes
correct.
from the chief's office, but CNB pays her.
That's correct.
Do we have any scope again on that contract? I mean, is she doing CNB activities? And how detailed are those invoices in terms of hours or activities that were provided, since that's the people's money still?
Well, that, like I said, that's a third-party arrangement, and I'm not privy to the detail of those invoices, but my understanding is that it all relates to her time that's spent on CNB.
Okay. Would you update, when you have a chance, have the staff pull the actuals and update the total amount that we've paid her?
Sure, I think through that request, we'll be glad to do that.
Okay, very good. And what about Jason Amott or Dane Strother?
Jason, I don't know. I don't know him personally or anything, but I don't think we've done any business with him. And Dane, our board, we did an RFP that was bid on for advertising, and Dane performed that. It was $50,000. He issued his report. We're implementing a lot of those suggestions, and to my knowledge, that's all that we have under contract with him.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Madam
You're
Speaker.
Are there any other questions of, yes, Mr. Snell?
Yes, Sean. The turnpike, Rose, the truck stop on the turnpike,
Yes, sir.
is it
We've-
still working on it, or?
We've done the business case on that. I haven't seen it. My understanding is it's not favorable to us putting an operation in there, just from a business perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I guess that concludes your report. Good report.
Thank you.
We'll see you Wednesday. Okay, seeing no old business, we'll go to new business out of the Community Services Committee. Councilman Lay, would you take Resolution 12-099?
Is that number one?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yes, I will, thank you. A resolution authorizing the food distribution program to submit an application for funding to the United States Department of Agriculture, and I so move.
Second.
Second. Would that be by acclamation?
Yes.
Okay. well, their discussion, yes.
I just want to thank everyone for the inclusion of the Collinsville food distribution site. Just want to note that and appreciate that, and thank you to the administration. Thank you.
Other discussion or questions? The request has been made by acclamation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Number 2, Ms. Hargis, would you take that one?
This is a resolution authorizing the Family Assistance Department to submit an application to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for FY 2013 funding for low-income home energy assistance program. I make a motion.
Second.
Are there any questions, discussion? Would that be by acclamation? Yes. Okay, all in favor can signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Ayes have it. Ms. Fishenhawk, you want to take number 3?
Okay, this is an act amending Legislative Act 3602. It's to add additional advisory board of directors, which would be 2, to the Cherokee Nation Housing Authority, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Okay. Motion and second. Questions or comments? You want to do that by acclamation?
Yes,
Okay.
acclamation.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? I know that was an act, but we did it by acclamation if everyone's in favor. Okay. Out of Health Committee, we have number 4. Council Lady Fulbright, would you take that one?
A resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Health Services to assume management, supervision, and oversight of Cherokee Nation Home Health Agency and Hospice of the Cherokees.
Second.
There's a motion and second, and I'm seeing our attorney hopping up. Could we'll defer to you. What?
Madam Speaker, I've been visiting with the Attorney General's office. We do have some issues that we need to resolve before this is finalized. We would ask that this be tabled back to the committee for next month's Health Committee.
Move to table back to Health Committee.
Okay, we have a motion and second to table that back to Health Committee. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Out of Resource Committee, we have number 5. Council Lady Fraley, would you?
The property that is the subject of this resolution was purchased by the Cherokee Nation as an emergency assistance purchase, as Mr. Beaver was about to be foreclosed on, and as a result he would have been homeless. We purchased that property and have held on to it, and he has since passed, and his family, the Beaver family, are interested in purchasing this property. And it's in a rural setting south of Locust Grove, and it would be hard to find a renter, and the cost of maintaining this property would probably be more than it would be than the income that would be produced. So, Madam Speaker, I would move for its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion or questions?
Acclamation?
Yes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Ayes have it. Okay. Councilman Hoskins, will you take number 6 out of rules?
Certainly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a resolution confirming the nomination of Farrell Mackey Prater as a member of the Cherokee Nation Registration Committee. Madam Speaker, Ms. Prater, and she's here with us this evening, she is a leader in her community, and she has a solid background in genealogy research, and she's just an all-around nice lady, and I'm so glad that she stepped forward to take this position. And with that, I'd move for its approval, and Ms. Prater is here, Madam Speaker.
Second.
Discussion or comments? Why don't we take a vote and then we'll have you maybe say a few words. All in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you for the nomination and thank you, council, for your full vote. I plan on doing the best that I can for my Cherokee people and helping them get their cards and be recognized as a Cherokee citizen.
Okay. Number 7, Council Lady Fisher and Hawk, will you take that one?
Yes, this is a resolution confirming the nomination of Betty Barker as a member of the Cherokee Nation Registration Committee, and I proudly move for its approval.
I'll second that.
Discussion or questions? Yes, Council Lady Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have only known Ms. Barker briefly compared to so many on the council and so many in the Cherokee Nation leadership, whether elected or in the community. But I have to commend Chief Baker. You have to be one of the most qualified nominees we have seen in his administration to date, and it is without a doubt that I can endorse you tonight.
Let's go ahead and take a vote if there's no other questions. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Ms. Barker, would you like to say a few words?
Submitting my name for this, and I look forward to serving the Cherokee people. And the genealogy of the Cherokee is very close to my heart. And look forward to working with you. Bye-bye.
Councilman Lay, would you like to do number 8?
Yes, thank you. This is a resolution confirming the nomination of Linda O'Leary as registrar for the Cherokee Nation Registration Committee. And by acclamation, please.
Okay.
Second.
Questions or comments? Council Lady Watts.
Madam Speaker, after we take the vote, will she have an opportunity to speak? Because I think the registration committee is kind of a mystery still for folks, and if she could briefly describe the roles and responsibilities.
After we take the vote, we'll have Ms. O'Leary come down. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Ms. O'Leary, would you come down and say a few words?
Good evening, council.
Evening.
I just want to say that I'm very honored to serve with these two precious ladies that's so interested in our Cherokee people and our Cherokee Nation. And I'm glad to serve and be able to serve with them. Thank you, ladies. Is there questions?
Yeah, if you could, just so that we demystify the registration committee, how often you plan to meet and kind of what your roles and responsibilities will be. If you could describe that, it'd be appreciated.
The registration committee will meet as needed. It usually meets on a monthly basis. If we need to meet more, we will. We will be going over ineligibles. We will be looking at citizens that are trying to prove their lineage. And so we have a big job to do, and I will be chairing that committee. And we're going to have a tea, probably, or a welcome ceremony in the near future for these ladies, and we will be giving you an invitation to attend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. O'Leary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Hoskins, will you take the next one?
Certainly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is item number 9, a resolution authorizing the filing of a friendly suit against the Election Commission seeking a declaratory judgment regarding the Voter District Amendment Act of 2012. Madam Speaker, as you recall, we passed a redistricting law a few months back. We did so under a statutory deadline of August 1st. There has been issues raised by some of the council members who voted against it. It was not an act that passed unanimously. Claims of it being unconstitutional. Certainly, if it was any other type of law, we might wait and let the process play out. But this is a redistricting law. We have elections coming up next year, so it's important that we get any constitutional issues resolved as quickly as possible. And that was why at our Rules Committee meeting last, we passed this resolution. And in fact, consistent with our past practice, we instructed our attorney, Diane Barker Harrell, to file that lawsuit. It was filed. So that process is underway. So I'd move for the approval of item number 9 with just a slight modification, and direct your attention to the first be it resolved paragraph. I would strike the word shall file in the first line and insert ratifies. So this is the tribal council ratifies a friendly suit. And then directing your attention to the next paragraph, strike the phrase by its attorney Diane Barker Harold shall file and replace it with ratify. So again, it is the Council of the Cherokee Nation ratifies this legal action. And I make the same correction in the title of the resolution.
I second it.
And with that, I move for its approval.
I second.
Okay. Discussion or questions? Julia, Councilman Coates, Council Lady Coates.
I think you're actually first, okay. I had a question about this because I did not support this. I am actually a party on another lawsuit, which is, I don't believe that we have the authority to file suit against the Election Commission on a redistricting matter pursuant to a decision by the district court last year or 18 months ago, something like that, even a friendly suit. So, and I am a party on another lawsuit, which I believe to be in a more appropriately framed case. And so my question is that this, that the tribal council has filed a friendly suit and that this is the way the suit is worded. I'm a member of the tribal council. I did not vote to do this. I don't want to be a party to this. And so my question, I guess, is that even though the majority voted to go ahead with this, there were a number of us who did not agree. And are we required to be a party to it? Because as of this moment, it's my understanding that I'm one of the people that's on this suit, and I don't wish to be. So I guess that's the question I have.
Is that to Diane?
It's to Diane, I guess, or to... Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a great task every 24 hours a day, which is to serve 17 clients. And and I cannot take a position that is not amenable. All I can do is follow the direction of the council, and the majority of the council did vote for this and asked that it be filed in this manner. I can look at the law and see if we could amend the petition and amend the plaintiffs, if that is something. I can't say that I will, but I will research that if that is something. But the lawsuit has been filed, and so this is just for the ratification of the action taken in rules. But if you have a wish about changing the plaintiffs, I will take a look at that. Also discuss with the Attorney General as well, since he has a lot of institutional knowledge and memory, having served this body for 12 years, so that he and I can discuss the precedents that he's aware of as well, and we'll look into that.
Yeah. I didn't believe that this could even be done until it went through this full council. That was also a legal concern of mine, and yet the majority went ahead anyway and said, yes, it can, yes, it can. And so, I mean, what would be the proper course of action at this point? Can I approach the court itself at this point and ask to be removed from it, or... because I didn't agree to, you know, in my personal capacity, to be a party to this. And I think it would be much more appropriate if those who did want to be a party to it were enjoined as or placed on as plaintiffs in their, you know, in their personal capacity as members of this body, but not that the entire body was in agreement on this, because we weren't.
Well, before you approach the court, Councilor Coates, let me look at the legal issues and see the best way to approach this, and I will certainly give you my honest opinion.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I won't support this, same as I did not support it in committee. Obviously, we're party to a lawsuit that we think have the appropriate people involved, which does not include the parties named in this lawsuit. But I remember specifically during committee asking that we be informed before it was filed, that we be allowed to provide input before it was filed, and I thought I'd been promised that commitment to find out from the Tulsa World and others that it had been filed on Friday without my knowledge or input. That is problematic to me. Plus, we also made note during that time, whether we'd voted for it or not, that this should never be filed and was not appropriate action under our Constitution until the action had been taken in full council, which is now happening and appears to, I guess, now be a consideration, and we now agree that it should be done at full council, because here we are considering it at full council when we were told in committee, no, it only had to have committee action. I think that for the people, this should go through the appropriate process and be considered appropriately, and I don't believe it has. Plus, all those issues around redistricting still stand, the gerrymandering, the elimination of bad addresses arbitrarily by taking somebody that's had one piece of mail returned by the U.S. Postal Service, suddenly removed from our population and lacking political representation on this court, on this body, when the district court in 2010 clearly ruled that you could not arbitrarily do that, and that apportionment was an issue. But I guess we're just going to ignore that. And then we're going to spend the Cherokee people's money, because unlike this lawsuit, which takes Cherokee people's money, we are using our own resources, our own research skills, and have begged the time of some Cherokee lawyers to represent us. And if we have money for gas money for them, we're going to give them our personal money for gas money and ask for that. But here, without the full collective body agreeing to it, we're going to use Cherokee money again to re-argue something which has already clearly been decided, and I think I'm disappointed in that. But again, I won't be voting for it tonight. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Other questions down this way? Discussion? Mr. Thornton?
Well, the only thing that I really have to say about this is, after we passed 15 district at this whole council, and it was voted on, there was no votes, there were yes votes, but it passed. And we waited around for several months and thinking that there's going to be a lawsuit filed, and was told there's going to be a lawsuit filed. Well, there never was a lawsuit filed. So we brought this forward to settle the argument, settle the fuss, and then after this was brought forward, there was a lawsuit filed. So I probably would have never voted to break this forward if there'd already been a lawsuit filed. And that's the way I feel about it. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton. Other, Councilman Anglin?
Yes, Madam Speaker, and this is and what Councilman Thornton just said, we didn't just hastily, file this lawsuit. We took our time to make sure we did it right. We had to get a team of Cherokee attorneys that wanted to help us represent the Cherokee citizens that are sitting out here, and to do it for nothing, that means a lot to us. And to sit here and want to spend Cherokee Nation money like this and spend it before it ever came to full council, I think it's just totally wrong, because I don't think we missed the boat, because it's just now being voted on now. And our lawsuit, we had the right to file that. We wasn't under a time frame like the people that's on this council voted to file that lawsuit. You voted on it too early. You filed it too early.
It's just now in front of us right now. And I couldn't support this for nothing. So I'll be voting against it to save the Cherokee Nation money.
Council Lady Coates.
I'll be very brief because I have already spoken, but I do want to say there was never any time frame placed on us that I was ever aware of that we had to file a lawsuit within a certain amount of time or else. And to, I completely agree with Councilor Anglin. We wanted to do this appropriately, like anyone who's filing a lawsuit. We wanted to take time to analyze and find out what the strongest arguments would be. And we stated in the committee meeting itself that we were going to be filing the suit the following week. And nevertheless, the body went ahead, the majority went ahead and passed this, even though we had told them exactly when we were going to be filing at that point. And we, so within a day or two, we had filed it exactly as we had promised. So I'm sorry, but I just, those are not arguments that hold a lot of water with me, and I won't be voting for this.
Madam Speaker, with respect to Councilman Anglin, whether the suit was timely, we passed a resolution in rules to initiate a lawsuit that was time sensitive. It's time sensitive because the election draws near and no lawsuit had been filed. We didn't do anything unprecedented in that regard. In fact, during the last term, the Rules Committee authorized a lawsuit, and time was of the essence, and directed our attorney, then Mr. Hembry, to initiate a lawsuit. We've done this before. With respect to Council Lady Coates' concern that she's suing in her personal capacity, she can check with her counsel about that, but I can assure her that this lawsuit was not 17 council members in their personal capacity suing anyone. It was the Council of the Cherokee Nation making a decision as a group, as we make every decision. Sometimes there's dissenters, but as the majority made the decision that this issue was important enough to get before the court and we ought to do it as quickly as possible. Now, the council lady said that they told us that they'd be filing their suit the week after the Rules Committee meeting, but Madam Speaker, they can't disagree that they've been talking about filing a lawsuit since before we even passed the statute. Since before we even passed the map, there were threats of lawsuits. It never happened. What we do know is that the longer that we wait, the more of a burden is placed on the Election Commission, the more chaos is caused, the more compressed time frame within which the courts must make their decision, and that's not good for the Cherokee people. Getting this before the court as soon as possible is the right thing to do. Now, often, Madam Speaker, when we're here debating these issues, we have two different points that we want to get at. The one side wants to get over here, and the other side wants to get over here. What's incredible about this debate is we actually all want to get to the same place. When you boil it down, we all want to get to the same place. We want the courts of the Cherokee Nation to tell us whether the law that we passed is constitutional or not. And it's incredible. Often we are butting heads over where we want to go. We actually want to go to the same place, and it's amazing the energy that's being expended to debate this issue. Because we just want to get in front of a court and make our arguments. Those that dissent on the council are free to file friend of the court briefs to the court and make their arguments. They're even free to, as some of the council members have done, file their own lawsuit. But I suspect these cases are going to be consolidated, and it's going to boil down to one question. Is that act constitutional? And we'll get an answer to that question and we'll move on. So I think this is worth passing to ratify the action that we took, and the action was appropriate, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, Council Lady Fraley.
I have a question for Ms. Diane Barker-Harrell. Diane, actually, like Mr. Hoskins said, we're trying to get to the same issue, get the same issue resolved. Because they both ask fundamentally the same question, do you think that what will be the outcome of the court? Do you think one will be pitched? Do you think they'll be consolidated? How do you think they will be handled?
In preliminary research, there appears to be a possibility that the second lawsuit could be dismissed. The court could also just simply allow the group for the second lawsuit to provide amicus briefs to the first lawsuit. But as Counselor Hoskins said, the bottom line is we're looking for the resolution of the constitutionality of that. That was the discussion in rules. That is the direction that we're going. And it is not a suit of animosity against the Election Commission, but it's a friendly suit to bring them in because they need the guidance to move forward, and they are the logical party to do so. And so the main thing that needs to be done is for any questions that and concerns that any of this body has, that it be resolved. And so that's...
And in your research, you do believe that the Election Commission has standing?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Thank you.
And there is precedent, as Councilor Hoskins said. I think it was under your leadership, not to throw you under the bus, but I think that it has. But yes, so I think the ultimate goal is for us to get this resolved and to bring everyone together.
Okay, I believe we're going to do this by roll call. Shelley, would you go ahead and call the roll? A yes vote is ratification of the existing lawsuit that's been filed on behalf of the council.
Lee Keener,
No.
Dick Lake,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
Yes.
David Walkingstick,
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts,
No.
Jewel England,
No.
Jack Baker,
No.
Joe Byrd,
Yes.
Julianne Coates,
No.
Jody Fishinghawk,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright, Don Garvin,
Yes.
Frankie Hargis,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
Tyler Lori Jordan.
Yes.
Twelve yes and 5 no.
Okay, the resolution passes. Number 10, Councilman Hoskins, can you take that?
Certainly, Madam Speaker. This is an act amending Legislative Act 1307, the Cherokee Administrative Procedures Act, item number 10 on our agenda. This removes the Election Commission from coverage of the APA, and with that, I move for its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Do we have discussion? Start on this end. Council Lady Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the Administrative Procedures Act, if you go to Legistar, legislative.cherokee.org, and actually look it up, it's a really thick, fairly boring document if you're not someone who likes to read policy. But the exciting thing about it for me is, had we had it implemented by the Election Commission, and we also have other issues, I'm not picking just on the Election Commission. This is also the Environmental Protection Commission, I believe, has not fully implemented this act, which has been in place for 3 or 4 years or so or more. But had we had the Election Commission be in compliance with the Administrative Procedures Act, we likely would not have had the 2011 election debacles. So for us to remove the actual language that an individual voter can rely on in order to protect their rights, to make sure that their vote is counted and that they are heard at the polls from all the way from the point where they register to vote, how their mail is treated, if they have considered a bad address or not, whether they're removed from the rolls appropriately or inappropriately as a registered voter, to did they receive the absentee ballot request by an individual voter? Did the voter get the ballot in a timely manner and receive it? If not, how do you get a new ballot if the ballot comes back to you bad and torn? How do you verify your ballot is received by the Election Commission if it's an absentee ballot and counted? All those things that we saw in 2011 that created the confusion, the hurt, and the frustration by the Cherokee people could be resolved if the Election Commission had implemented what they were required under the Administrative Procedures Act, and here we go and remove their requirement after they should have already had it implemented. I just cannot support this, because even if we remove this, they are still required to do this. But the problem is the details that I think individual voters should have the right to as citizens that outline the obligations of that independent commission, as well as the other commissions that are listed, such as Gaming Commission, Tax Commission, and the Environmental Protection Commission, won't be there to protect you. That means you will have to go enlist a candidate possibly during an election, which is what we saw, and I think that's poor government. I think where a voter has to publicly align with a candidate to go to court in order to protect their individual rights is not where we want to be. It's not where we should be. The Gaming Commission, the Tax Commission should be commended. They have implemented this act, and it protects those people with car tax, protects those people seeking the fair implementation of our tax system, even though it's limited within the Cherokee Nation. But more importantly, where we can see a very big success is the Gaming Commission. There are hundreds and thousands, actually thousands of employees now under Gaming Commission license that, because of that Gaming Commission's successful implementation of the Administrative Procedures Act, they are protected. They know what to expect if their gaming license is denied or revoked. There is a written policy and procedure by the Gaming Commission which protects their rights as an individual employee with their gaming license and the actions and activities of the Independent Gaming Commission. We are missing an opportunity to do that same work for our voters to avoid another 2011 debacle. I am just sad that we did not realize that this had not been implemented before and held each commission to the same standard that we have seen the others. And as we move forward, the Environmental Protection Commission, and I've asked them, need to fully implement this too as we move forward with our water rights and water quality exertions, as well as air and the other things we protect under natural resources that are under the scope of the Environmental Protection Commission. So if people on this body vote to remove the Election Commission, they are taking away rights that you should have under our government for transparency and the expectations on how we do our work. And that's just sad to me. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Anybody else on this end? You have something to add, Julia?
As Chief Baker noted earlier in his State of the Nation tonight, we were in community meetings in Texas all this past weekend with 3 different at-large community organizations, and we had forums at which we took questions from the audiences that were there, the citizens that were there. And at every forum, I believe this was some version of this question was asked. The difficulties that people had had in voting absentee in the last election were widespread. And since nearly all of my constituents vote absentee, my constituents are particularly impacted by the lack of policies that are out there to the public so that everybody can know what they are, and the lack of recourse if things don't go right for them. And I was asked repeatedly at various meetings, how should we do this? What are we supposed to do next year when we vote? What is the process for registering? What is the process for requesting an absentee ballot? And again and again, people, I would tell them what the process was, and they said, yes, but I did that, and it didn't work. I didn't get my ballot, or I got it too late. You know, that things had not worked out the way that they were supposed to. And I didn't know what to tell them, because I don't know what the recourse is, because as far as I know, there isn't one. Nothing is published. And the charge that's often made as to why the Election Commission should be removed from this is because it's not the place of the Tribal Council to tell the Election Commission what their policy should be, how they should do things, et cetera, because they are to be an independent commission. And I agree. I'm not trying to tell them what their policies are. I don't want us to tell them what the policies should be. But I want them to tell me what the policies are. I want them to tell me what I'm supposed to tell my constituents when they ask me these questions. I want them to tell me where my constituents are supposed to go when things don't work the way that they're supposed to. And that's what I don't have in hand. I don't know what to tell people. And so the best I could do was to tell them what I would probably try to do, how I would pursue it if I was in the situation. And it was simply to request your absentee ballot as early as possible, the day that window opens. And give them a week or 10 days. Call them. If they haven't gotten you logged in to receive one, request it again and call them again 10 days later. And if they still don't have you logged in, request it again. And that's the best I could tell them what to do, because this is the widespread issue that my constituents had, was that requests were made, they didn't receive it. Requests were made repeatedly, and they didn't receive it. And by the end of the period of time that they could have voted, they weren't able to. And after that, there was nothing they could do. There was no complaint that could be made. There was no process for being able to do that, apparently. So for my constituents in particular, this is an extremely critical thing that we should know. I want the Election Commission to tell me what to tell my people. I want the Election Commission to tell them what to do if things don't work out the way that they are supposed to. And that needs to be something that is available to everybody. And unfortunately, it has not come forth at this point. And so I'm reluctant to let them off the hook on this one, and because it is just so very, very critical to having effective government in the Cherokee Nation. So I can't support removing them from this act. Thank you.
Anybody else on this side? Anybody on this side? Councilman Hoskins, did you have some comments?
Well, Madam Speaker, not only is the Election Commission an autonomous body, it's a constitutional body. That's what makes it different than the other commissions that have been mentioned here this evening. It's not appropriate really to compare the Election Commission and these other commissions. It is not the case that removing the Election Commission from the Administrative Procedures Act will prevent citizens from being able to seek redress in the courts if the Election Commission does not fulfill its constitutional duty. Remember, Madam Speaker, this is a commission that's fulfilling a constitutional duty. If it fails to do that, whether it's something like an absentee ballot or some internal procedure that infringes on the rights of Cherokee citizens to vote, these are constitutional duties that they're executing, and there's always access to the courts, and the citizens who are affected by that always have standing when we're talking about something like the Election Commission. The issue is whether the APA, which is very rigid, very inflexible, is appropriate to impose upon the Election Commission, which again is an autonomous constitutional body charged, not just capable of, but charged under the Constitution with executing the election laws. And I will be supporting this because I think the Election Commission will fulfill that duty, and there won't be an issue with transparency. And I have faith that they'll do that. And more importantly than faith, I know that the law requires them to do that, and there'll be plenty of people capable of holding them accountable if they don't do that, even if they're not in the Administrative Procedures Act. So I would free them from this rigid statute that's really inappropriate to impose on them.
This is an act. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Yes vote would be that we will remove them from the Administrative Procedures Act. Shelley?
Janelle Fulbright?
Yes.
Don Garvin?
No.
Frankie Hargis?
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.?
Yes.
Tina Glory Jordan,
Yes.
Lee Keener,
No.
Dick Blake,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
Yes.
David Walkingstick,
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts,
No.
Yul England,
No.
Jack Baker,
No.
Joe Byrd,
Yes.
Julianne Coates,
No.
Jody Fishinghawk,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley.
No.
10 yes and 7 no.
Okay. Act passes, and they will be removed from the Administrative Procedures Act. Number 11, Mr. Thornton, would you care to take that one?
I guess so. Our sponsor looks like. This act is an act relating to the subsidies for smoke shop retailers. Purpose of this act is to provide 50% subsidy for smoke shop retailers based upon the lease payments made to landowners where the retailers, smoke shops are situated. Funding source from these subsidies shall be from the general fund. There's one word that I want to look at and change in here, Madam Speaker, and it's already been changed in the act that's been handed out, and it's the second paragraph on subsidies, and it says these rebates. Well, this is not a rebate, this is a subsidy.
Councilman Thornton, are you asking that everyone that look at their handout instead of what's in the book?
Oh. Okay. Either way, it doesn't have to look at that word is changed, and I want that word changed. It wasn't even right that was passed. But will be paid by the Cherokee Nation from the general fund. And with this, I'd like to make a motion to pass.
I second it.
Okay.
We add it as a sponsor.
We'll add Ms. Hargis as a sponsor. Mr. Garvin?
I'd like to have the floor.
Okay, is there anyone else who wants to be added as a sponsor? We have a motion and second. We'll open it up to discussion now. Mr. Garvin?
Yes, I'd like to be a sponsor also.
Okay.
We've talked about this before, and I think I'm going to support it, but I want to make one friendly amendment that my friend Councilman David Thornton will accept, where it says 50%, 3 different places. Make a motion, we change that as a friendly amendment to 75%, if he'll accept it.
Yes, I'll accept that motion and proudly accept it. With my second, accept it.
Yes.
Motion, the motion and second have both accepted the friendly. Was there any other comments?
No, that's it.
Okay. Comments on this end? Mr. England?
Yes, ma'am. So I'd just like to be added as a sponsor.
Lady Watt?
I would like to be added as a sponsor and just thank the smoke shop folks that are here, because I know that you still are hanging on even in this different environment for your industry and employing people in our areas, and we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Is that everybody on this side? On this side, questions or comments?
I have one comment.
Yes, Councilman Thornton.
Of course, I've felt for these smoke shops ever since I went in because they're fighting an uphill battle. And it seems like every day that we see advertisements against these smoke shops. And we're going to have to bring these smoke shops around and help them, and maybe find some way to substitute their fundings and their pay. But right now, the reason I'm interested in this 75%, we've got 6 smoke shops I know that are closed right now, and at this 75%, they'll open back up. I really think that, and I've been told someone about that. But by them opening back up, that 75%, they're all average smoke shops, and on average, they sell about 1,500 cartons a month, and they pay the total tax per month. Those 6 smoke shops will. will pay $15,000 a month to the tax collection. Another deal on this is average lease, it'll be $2,000 a month. So 75% of that would be $7,500 that we'll subsidize them with. Well, those 6 shops are going to add $7,500 to the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission also. So that'll be another $7,500. They'll be paying for their self for the 75%, and they'll be paying $7,500 into the tax commission also. So this is a real good deal. I hope that we can get some more smoke shops open. I hope that we can get something going here, you know, on the smoke shop compacts, because that's got to be started and it's got to be turned in by January the 1st. And we need to get together and get something going on this, Mr. Hoskins. But anyway, I appreciate y'all tonight, and I appreciate the smoke shops. I appreciate the members of been in, because they really have worked our people. They're 100% Cherokees that work there, and back in the day, they was working close to 1,000 people. So they're a pretty good corporation as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, it is an act, so we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Jody Fishinghawk,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright,
Yes.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Frankie Hargis,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
Hannah Glory Jordan,
Yes.
Lee Keener,
Yes.
Dick Lay,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
Yes.
David Walkingstick,
Yes.
Eric Allen Watts,
Yes.
Jewel Angel,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Joe Bird.
Yes.
17 yes, 0 no.
I believe it passed.
All right.
It will assist at least 400 families that are employed by the smoke shops, and probably another 50 families that receive lease money from the smoke shop. And it probably needs to be added that it is only for the fiscal year 2013, while we enter into compact negotiations, and hopefully we'll get them enough money that they don't need us to help them next year.
Correct.
We're looking for Mr. Hoskins to be our negotiator on that.
Yes. I've got another one in mind, but we'll get that later.
Okay, number 12, Councilman Baker, will you take that, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. This is an act related to the creation and regulation of armed security within the Cherokee Nation. It will establish the ability for the Cherokee Nation to have an armed security, and the commissions for this will be controlled by the marshals. And the security officers in question will have the ability to carry firearms to protect life and property. So I make a motion that it be approved by acclamation.
Second.
There has been a motion and second made. Discussion or comments?
I thought I'd been added as a sponsor, and I'd appreciate being added. Thank you.
Council Lady Watts. And
I'd
then
like to be added as sponsor also.
Councilman Garvin and Councilman Lay is sponsor, and Councilman Thornton. Is that everybody? Who else? Councilman Anglin? Could we do this by acclamation?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my motion.
Yes, okay. All those in favor of passing number 12 signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Looks like Shannon Buell, you need to go forth and multiply, I guess. Guess you will get bigger.
He's got a red face.
Yeah. Now, I didn't quite mean it the way all y'all were thinking. Okay, we're gonna move to Executive and Finance Committee. Some of y'all didn't think I could tell a joke, didn't you? We're gonna move to Executive and Finance Committee, and now we're moving into number 13, which is the budget. And Council Lady Fishenhawk, I'll have you take that one.
Okay, this is Mod 12 of fiscal year, Mod 12 of fiscal year 12's budget. It's an increase of $315,949. It's primarily related to grants received during the month, as well as a slight increase to the General Assistance Program. This mod brings the total fiscal year 12 operating budget to $552,685,079. I put it in the form of a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Do we have questions or comments? Discussion. Would someone suggest by acclamation?
An acclamation.
Okay. All in favor of passing budget mod number 12, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Council Lady Fishenhawk, will you take number 14?
Yes, I will. This is fiscal year 2013's operating budget. It went through the ENF Executive and Finance Committee of the Tribal Council during the latter part of August, and it went through several amendments. The result of all the amendments and the adjustments resulted in a comprehensive total for our operating or non-capital type expenditures for the primary government of $526,997,194. I'd like to thank the administration, Chief Bill John Baker, Deputy Chief Joe Crittenden, the Treasurer's Office, and the council staff for all their hard work in enabling the council to pass this balanced budget with priorities on increased services to people, specifically in the health, housing, education, and community service area. And I put this in the form of a motion.
Second.
Madam Chairman, I have.
Yes, Councilman Lay.
Today at Health Committee, we passed move line items of expenditure accounts onto this budget, 3329025 and 3329050, and I move that they be placed into this budget.
For capital.
You offering that as a friendly?
Yes, I am.
I accept it.
Point of information, is that on the capital budget or the operating budget? Because we have it separated for these line items, right? Is that how
Yes,
you
we do, and I just now talked about the operating budget.
Madam Speaker, if I may, I'll pass out the updated Exhibit A that includes the changes that you made at today's committee meetings.
Just the changes at the committee meeting? Okay.
So now you have a complete listing.
And those two unit items are still included in operating budget, is that correct?
And these items, Madam Chairman, will be placed in the reserved apportionment line item to ensure that the dollars require further council approval before expenditure.
And that's the only two changes, Treasurer Horn?
You'll see that change made in, I believe, the last page to your packet, last 2 pages to your packet. You'll see in the accounts, it is not in capital acquisitions anymore. It's now in a reserve by appropriation. That 2 budgets in your packet.
Council Lady Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So just to clarify, because I see confusion from others too. So this is the Marcoma improvements for ADA, or is this the capital projects on the health stuff that there was going to be restrictions on? I just want to make sure my mind's clear on this.
It's the second. It's the Telequa Surgery Center and the
Health Lane building purposes.
yes, sir.
And those are operating budgets instead of capitalized? And I have a list of questions too, not just about.
I believe they're capital.
So that's the next.
Oh, that's right. They're operating because it's not over a year.
Stay in the operating budget, they're just froze.
Capital expenditures or anything.
And Madam Speaker, I don't know if there's more questions from other folks around Councilman Lay's but I have a list of other questions and considerations I want asked, so I don't know if you want to come back to me?
I want to
or-
come back to you. I
Okay.
want to hold that for just a minute. We're going to pull Marcoma back out. Councilman Hoskins.
Madam Speaker, one other item that if Councilman Lay would revise his friendly and let me piggyback onto it. We addressed an issue with the Marcoma gym in committee this afternoon, and the issue was whether to use compact dollars as we put forth in this proposed budget or to use gen fund dollars. And the decision of the committee was to use gen fund dollars in the amount of $400,000 from the health budget. And so if we could take care of that item too in this friendly amendment, I'm the second on this motion, so I can't make it, but I certainly accept it.
Okay, so the motion and second has accepted. Okay, so I think everything that we...
Could you clarify what that actually is, so it's very clear, because even after committee today, it was still, just to make sure we're on the same page, what that actual action item.
Oh,
Temporarily take it from back
yeah,
to work.
temporarily move funds from the Back to Work program in health in the amount of $400,000, place it in the Marcoma gym, with the understanding that when carryover comes forward, approximately the end of March, perhaps earlier, but approximately the end of March, we will replenish those funds so that there's sufficient funds for Back to Work and sufficient funds for Marcoma. But this will get Marcoma through this first half of this fiscal year.
Okay. Are all minds clear with the friendly and the second?
Can I just make sure that I understand it? So instead of the 800,000, which is listed on the draft sheet out of committee, it'll be 400,000 that actually is coming from the general funds normally provided to Contract Health Back to Work program under health, would go to Marcoma for operating dollars. And at carryover time, an additional 400,000 would go to Marcoma, as well as replenish the 400,000 taken from Contract Health Back to Work.
Well spoken.
She's correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad. So, but what about the issues that were brought up in health? Is that going to be cleared up in a different way around using general fund dollars rather than or that was the IHS money? So we're still going back to the old model.
All gen fund
all that's
dollars.
off. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All minds clear then on what we have. We have a budget on the table. There's been 3 slight modifications to it. Now, questions, discussion.
Madam Speaker.
Yes. Councilman Baker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the proposed budget, there were $261,305 was cut from the Cherokee Heritage Center, and this resulted in the elimination of five positions, one which was vacant, but it was the termination or the layoff of 4 others, but 2 of those positions were picked up by the Cherokee Nation. So I would make a motion that we transfer $60,000 from the public school outreach so that the other 2 people will not be laid off, and move it to the Cherokee Heritage Center.
I second.
Is that a separate motion, not a friendly?
Unless they want to accept it as a friendly. Okay, it's a separate motion.
That is a separate motion. So now we have a motion to amend the budget on the floor with a second, and we'll now take discussion and questions on that motion and second.
Because I just want to reiterate that this will save 2 positions of people that are being terminated. And the cut was $261,000, and this is only adding back $60,000 of that $261,000.
I'll start down on this end. Council Lady Watts.
I have some comments, but before that, I need to just make sure my mind's clear before we act. is there going to be any impact, if you don't mind answering, Councilman Baker, to education outreach services for public schools by taking that $60,000 away?
Mr. Morton. Right.
Mr. Morton
suggested that at least 50,000 come from that, and I upped it to 60 to be sure that we could.
Madam Speaker, before I have my comments, would Dr. Morton please speak to this so that my mind's clear on what, if there is any impact to the 60,000 from public school outreach? If the motion were to pass?
The question is, would that impact public school outreach? Since both budgets are housed in education services, since we are currently involved in education in a reorganization of services, I do not anticipate that the 50,000 would drastically affect public school outreach. Now, when it comes reorg time in spring, it'll probably cost you more.
And it's 60,000, right? Okay, thank you, Dr. Morton. So just to understand from a budget perspective, when the budget came to us from Chief Baker's office, if you go to the budget line item, it shows a decrease on there of $189,581. But in reality, that's actually a flat budget. That just simplified the accounting and made adjustments so that it was more reflective of the actual budget being received by the Heritage Center. And I want to commend Chief Baker because the Heritage Center has really flourished under the partnership with the Cherokee Nation in our more a guaranteed or committed partnership where we've stepped up to the plate as a nation to ensure that things are being done for their employees and for the facilities to really upgrade. So, because when I talk to visitors, that's where they go. That's the face of the Cherokee Nation, other than the governmental buildings. So I want to commend Chief Baker for sending us a flat budget, and don't be misled by what is shown on the paper, because it actually is reflective of a flat budget. But when it got to council, there was recommended a 25% cut, which is the $261,305 that Councilman Baker referred to. And when explained in budget hearings, it was stated that it would not cause layoffs. And then since then, we found that while traveling on Friday, 4 cultural treasures were laid off due to the anticipated budget cuts after we were promised in budget hearings that it wouldn't impact the services and the employment of those at the Cherokee Heritage Center. So I was dismayed because I had voted for this out of budget hearings, but this is one of many reasons I think tonight I will not be able to support the budget, especially if we're not able to rectify it. I do think that the $60,000, which I will support, is a step forward in making sure that we make our commitment in partnership to the Heritage Center, because we can't just tell our partners overnight when we're still making money at our casinos and other revenue that suddenly we just don't want to partner with you. And yes, we're going to impact families and Cherokee cultural treasures just because we suddenly decide something differently when there's really no need from what I can see from a budget perspective. I'm unsure why they're being targeted, and it's unfortunate, so I'll support the $60,000. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Anyone on this side? Okay. Council Lady Fishenhawk.
I have a problem with this, Councilman Baker, because the layoffs of the Cherokee Heritage Center was their choice. Instead of stepping up to the plate, the same as the Phoenix did, bringing us a business plan, saying they're going to be independent, they chose to lay off 2 Cherokees. I'm very fortunate that Chief Baker and Deputy Chief Crittenden stepped in there and agreed to pick up the 2 Cherokees that they agreed to lay off. I'm very fortunate about that. I know there's 2 families, 2 Cherokee families, that are very happy for that. If they was willing to step up and say, hey, can you give us $60,000, and on top of that we will raise $60,000 plus over and above what we have in the past, I would be for it. But because they haven't stepped up to the plate and chose to hurt our people, I will not be for it. If you could have them come back to the table and tell us how that they are going to make up their part, bring it back next month and I might be for it. But at this point, I will not be, because I'm not for going straight to laying off Cherokee. I think that was a horrible, horrible decision. Thank you.
Councilman Lay?
I'd like to know whether all the employees over there are all Cherokee, 100%. Does anybody know?
They're not.
Anybody from
That's what
Heritage-
bothered me about laying off the two
Anybody
Cherokees.
Heritage Center here?
Some of them are UKB.
I don't think anybody from the Heritage Center is here. Maybe Jack or Meredith could answer that question.
There they are.
Do we have somebody back here?
They're not
Okay.
100% Cherokee citizens.
Yes.
I am from the Heritage Center. No, they're not all Cherokee employees. There's Kituah, there's Cherokee Nation citizens, and there's white people. German and Irish, different, but they're all together. They're not all Cherokee Nation.
Thank you.
But the majority are Cherokee, or Cherokee, either Cherokee or United Kituah.
The what?
The majority are
Yes, the majority
Cherokee.
are. It's the exception, it isn't.
Do you know how many non-Indians there are in numbers?
No, I do not know a specific number. Even some that maybe do not have a card, I'm thinking in one particular, her children are Cherokee.
She's raising kids in a Cherokee house?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Speaker, can we have them come forward and speak?
I believe Mr. Lay has the floor. We're gonna keep some order here. This is a council meeting, and the council will be the ones that talk. Mr. Lay?
Well, we just passed a really stiff and strong payroll, Tribal Employment Act law. And if I find that Cherokees were laid off and not Indians weren't, other than the young lady who's raising Cherokee kids, I'm going to be a little upset about that. That's all I've got to say.
Mr. Thornton?
Madam Chair, I'd like to maybe table this, bring this back to the committee, and have them come forward and give us a rundown on what the situation is, what's going on.
You would like to table to discuss it in committee for a
Right.
possible mod at a future date?
I second that.
Okay, so we have
Point of
a
information.
motion to table.
Is that the motion on the 60,000, or is that the entire budget act?
No,
for
as I
fiscal year
understand, it's a motion on the 60,000. There's a motion to table, which takes precedent, to table the motion made by Mr. Baker to amend the big budget for 60,000. And I think we probably need to do a roll call vote. That is no debate item. Yes will be to table. No will be to continue discussion on the 60,000. And Shelley will have you call the roll.
Bill Anglin?
No.
Jack Baker?
No.
Joe Byrd?
Yes.
Julia Coates?
No.
Jody Fishenhawk?
Yes.
Meredith Fraley? No. Janelle Fulbright?
Yes.
John Garvin?
No.
Frankie Hargis?
Yes.
Chuck Huskin Jr.?
Yes.
Tina Glory Jordan?
Yes.
Lee Keener?
No.
Dick Clay?
Yes.
Curtis Snell?
Yes.
David Thornton?
Yes.
David Walkingstick? Eric Allen Watts?
No.
Yes and 7 no.
Okay. The motion then has prevailed to table and move that back to the proper, I guess it would be Executive and Finance Committee to be talked about in a mod. So now we're back to, we have 3, I believe, slight amendments to the main budget that we worked a number of days on. And are there comments or questions? Starting at the end, Council Lady Coates. Oh, I'm sorry. You're just moving your hand?
Shaking my head, going, oh my God.
Council Lady Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I had asked the treasurer earlier that in anticipation that I had a number of questions and make sure she had the resources at hand to answer them. I think the first question I have is, given already like the Heritage Center discussion, if we pass this budget with the amendments that are there right now today, do you anticipate either already laying off people like already's happened with the Heritage Center, or going to have to lay off people with the budget that we're passing today?
You're talking specifically about the Heritage Center, correct?
No, I'm talking about the entire budget, because apparently we don't know what's going on in this budget because we didn't anticipate the Heritage Center as such. Because when I reviewed your report and I reviewed Doug Evans' report, there was nothing indicating to me that there was the elimination of programs like the Mays County Prevention Program or the Heritage Center. And that's not yours, that was our cut on our side. But am I missing something? Because there's a lot of concerned employees, so I think are we going to anticipate staffing reductions either by a specific program or in departments if we pass the budget as it's been presented to us with amendments?
There's nothing I'm aware of, and I could probably poll my executive directorship that's here. If anybody's aware of anything,
there's two specific, other than Mays County Prevention, there's strategy and solutions which have been zeroed out. So will those roles, does that mean that those things, because I think our NAGPRA stuff exists in strategy when I started digging, and it looks like it's one person and it's going to be completely eliminated. And solutions, I think there are grant writers.
Solutions was moved into IDC.
Okay, very good. That's exciting. I'm glad they're still there. So do we still have NAGPRA coverage if we pass this budget as is? Because solutions is zeroed out, or was it moved and I just couldn't find it where it was moved? Or strategy. Thank you.
Strategy.
Secretary of State.
Oh, great.
Mr. Head, will you please come down?
Charles can answer this.
Just in time, Mr. Head, Secretary Head.
Will be moved to natural resources.
Okay, so the roles and responsibility in that position has just been that line item's been eliminated as a budget line item and it's just been rolled into a different department.
Yes.
Okay.
No anticipated cut.
While you're up here, I have a question about the chief's budget and communications budget. I just want to clarify for the record, there's several positions, or maybe 2 or 3, such as chief of staff and executive director, communication and government relations, that had been contract, but it appears to be full-time. Are we taking political appointees off of contract and we're making them full-time employees? I want to make sure and clarify before I vote on this budget what I'm voting for.
This budget was, and I may have to check on some things for you, but communications was under chief of staff, but the communications direction is now under is no longer under Mr. Gray, and he actually, as of today, doesn't work here. He works for. He's accepted a position at CND.
So he doesn't work for the Cherokee Nation any longer. He works for Cherokee Nation businesses. Okay. Now, do we anticipate like chief of staff and senior advisor to principal chief and executive director of communication and government relations are political appointments? Or are they like contracts? Or are they full-time employees?
I believe that they are contract employees.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Head, Secretary Head. Lacey, I don't know, I have natural resources, education, human services, and health, and a gaming commission question.
Who's up first? Who do I see? I see Marcia. So you get human services first.
Okay, Marcia, as you make your way down, I would like to be, because I went and reviewed the books to see how I'd missed this. Okay. service to our citizens. And the Mays County Prevention Program.
Let me make an announcement. We're going to limit debate on this because we went through a week of budget hearings. These are questions that would have been more proper at the budget hearing. So I'm going to limit each debater to no more than 5 minutes. Shelley, do you have something you can keep time with?
That's fine. Instead of making sure we know, I guess, what we're voting on, I'll just make my comments. And I appreciate you being here tonight, Marcia. So here's some of the concerns I have with this budget after looking at what I thought was presented as a flat budget and relatively little change. And as I started digging further, having relied on other folks to present summaries that I thought indicated one thing and apparently did not, was we have a new Secretary of Natural Resources with significant salary ranges and such, but there's no plan, there's no, and it's using discretionary money, which means our gaming money is being put to use, and we have no idea where that direction is, and we have an obligation as a council on the purse strings. So I have a problem with that. We've decreased the directed studies program.
Council Lady Watts, I think we were through with you, Ms. Lamb. You can go ahead and sit down.
Thank you, Marcia. So decrease the directed studies program by $311,000 because we hadn't utilized it in the past, and this has been a frustration for me under the prior administration and this administration because we know we need nurses, but I have nursing students in Rogers County that are turned down for this very money. So I hope, and I asked Chief Baker and the administration to work on directed studies and make sure that we're getting our nursing students funded. Maybe we need to fund them more even if they have that much. We've eliminated an entire program, but we found out today that it was actually moved at a reduced rate under Indian Child Welfare Prevention Services, and it wasn't completely eliminated, but Mays County will no longer get the necessary services they need for children and youth for suicide prevention, where we know we have actually served, and especially after I get Marcia Lamb's report from Human Services, where there's all these incredible numbers, 2,000 and more students served every month by this group of 11 full-time employees that didn't know if they would have work or not, but it was never brought to our attention, and unfortunately that came over in the chief's budget. We have community family advocates that were talked about as elder advocates, and it says that they're supposed to be competitive jobs. I hope that Chief Baker and the administration keeps to that, and there's supposed to be one per district, the 5 districts, and I hope it's actually competitive. I found it interesting after the campaign literature that was mailed out that we have decreased the cemetery preservation money. I just thought that was ironic. I have a question for Connie that I failed to ask during committee today, but we are decreasing our commitment to NARCH, which is our health and public research monies, and I don't know that they know it's coming, and I have a problem with that, so we may have to rectify that in the health budget. I do think that Head Start needs additional monies, but it's going to be at the cost of our Cherokee Heritage Center and our Cherokee Phoenix. They have 25% budget cuts that I thought had been discussed with the Phoenix editorial board and the staff, and unbeknownst to me, another group got caught in the middle of politics, and now I think the very essence of our Free Press Act is at risk because they're going to have to eliminate, rather than cut staff and actual research and news coverage, they're going to eliminate the paper edition to free subscription to Cherokee citizens. And I think that we could have done that way differently. We could plan ahead for that and have our free press being given the opportunity to plan 1 and 3 years out. They say there's a plan. I haven't heard about it. Haven't been party to those conversations. I know the Cherokee Phoenix is here. I hope we get them on record because the Cherokee people deserve to know what that plan's going to be if we're arbitrarily going to cut by 25% when there's money coming from our gaming facilities and other locations, and we could be meeting all these needs. So it's very sad. On another note, and this was my fault, because after I started realizing that there were so many problems, I started digging further on everything, and the Gaming Commission has asked for 8 more employees. I wonder why, after we opened the Ramona Casino today for another 69 employees and their gaming license and additional machines. We'll open the Howard Rock Tower number 3 shortly, and we'll open Fort Gibson. That's our cash cow. It better be regulated, and it better be regulated properly. But over from from the chief's office, instead of getting the 8 full-time employees, I believe, that were asked for, we got 0 additional. It's a flat budget. That concerns me because we better have our cash cow regulated on behalf of not only the Cherokee people who are our representative shareholder or the shareholders, and we're the representative body for it, but we better make sure that there's integrity in that process. And I can't vote for the budget tonight for those reasons, and I'd hope to get them resolved, but apparently I won't be given time this evening. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You still have 8 seconds.
Does that include your interruption?
Are there any other comments from this end? Councilman Keener?
Well, I've heard some of the debate tonight, and it really troubles me. I just heard tonight, as you did, that there is someone being taken care of who's non-Cherokee, who's going to go to C&B. My question is that only reserved for those at that level, or those who are non-Cherokee to be taken care of by C&B? The 2 that are laid off, can they be absorbed by C&B? We don't know how many people are going to be laid off. I'll admit it, I don't know. I don't think anyone in this room can tell me. And I would like to know that before I vote on this. And I'm going to vote no. I will not support this. When I hear about the Phoenix being cut off, or not cut off, excuse me, reduced in funds and maybe having to lay off and not have a paper, I ask myself, what's that about? Who's making these decisions? And really no one can give me an answer. The chief's office is going to blame the tribal council will blame the chief. But we should all be working together. That's the Cherokee way I know, and this is not what I'm seeing happening with this budget, and I will not vote to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this side? Anyone? Ms. Coach, down at the end, I'm sorry, I guess I missed you a few minutes.
I just said, we've heard several references to the plan by the Cherokee Phoenix, and I don't know what the plan is. As Councilor Watts said, that seems to be a rather select group of people who have been in on the planning. And so the editor, Brian Pollard, is here, and I just wondered if he would come down and give us basically the outlines of this plan.
So you're yielding your time?
I am.
Ryan, you only have 3 minutes.
It'll be better than an outline. I actually have copies of the plan.
Oh, very good. We'll take it so you can have your 3 minutes because you're burning your clock.
Okay. Basically, in a nutshell, when we learned of the budget cut, I met with Speaker Gloria Jordan and some other counselors, and also some editorial board members. And we were challenged to find additional ways that we could generate revenue internally. And so I met with, after our meeting, I met with the editorial board, and they charged me to come up with a plan that would mitigate the budget cuts that we were looking at. So the two big revenue generators that we're going to be implementing are going to be moving from free subscriptions, which is what we've done since the mid-90s, and going to paid subscriptions. The paid subscriptions are going to not only bring our costs down, because it's probably going to reduce our circulation, but it also covered the cost of printing and mailing the newspaper. The second big part of the plan is, you'll see on page 4, sponsored distribution. And right now we have news racks set up throughout the 14-county area, and we stock those with newspapers, and those citizens or anybody really can pick those up at no cost. Those news racks will be sponsored by the organization that chooses to have one. If they want to provide free newspapers for their clients, then they can basically buy bundles of papers from us, and then we will stock, whether it's a clinic or a casino, whoever it might be, we'll stock them with newspapers, and then their clients can pick up newspapers from those sites. And you'll see, you'll also see in the plan the budgetary projections.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can you share with us how much advance notice you had that budget cuts were coming to the Cherokee Phoenix in order to put this plan together?
I found out about it the day that you were in committee.
So you basically were not given much warning either of this. Did you have
Yeah, we had to scramble a bit
before that date, or rumor, gossip, innuendo?
Mm-mm.
So this was pretty unexpected to you, huh? Okay. Thank you. I just would like to note, I presume the Heritage Center did not get any more advance notice of that either. And so we've had, Brian's been the editor of the Phoenix for a number of years at this point, and it's been a pretty stable operation, whereas I think the Heritage Center is in a period of transition at this time, having an interim director. And although she's a very capable woman, I'm not saying anything else. There is something of a newness to the whole position in terms of being able to rapidly put something together in terms of a plan in the way that the Phoenix did. And I just wanted to make that point in response to Councilor Fishing-Hawk's earlier comments. So I really commend you for doing this on the fly, essentially. I know that must have been quite an effort on the part of you and your editorial board.
Yeah, and my staff as well. I mean, we all pulled together to do it, but I think that in the long term, it's going to be a benefit to the department, because what we were looking at, the Phoenix was basically kind of at a fork in the road. Down one path was ever-increasing costs due to increasing circulation numbers, increasing printing costs, increasing mailing costs, where the council would be in a position of, or we'd be in a position of constantly asking council for more and more money as we continued our operations. Or we could go down another path towards self-sufficiency, which is us finding ways to pay for our own operations. And so we've taken that path with this plan, and I think it's going to benefit us in the long run.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Coates. Mr. England?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for Brian. Brian, will this impact our elders and people in the rural areas and stuff that depend on this newspaper coming to them for home? Before Cherokee, people that struggle every day coming to the utility.
Yeah, I think so. Clearly it's going to impact anyone who has been receiving the paper for free, and now they're going to be asked to pay for the paper. I think that what we'd like to do is, because this was kind of done on the fly and we have a very short period to implement it, we're going to monitor it very closely, and we're going to see how we can change it and modify it and tweak it to really benefit the most people. And so right now we're just going to implement the plan as you see in front of you, and as we get feedback from our readers and from people in the community, we'll try to make changes and implement changes to it so that we can continue to serve as many people as possible.
Thank you, Brian, because I feel like this is just like pulling the rug out from under the person, this paper, because people in our area really depend on this coming to their house, and so I can't support this budget tonight like it's written also. So, thank you.
Councilman Garvin?
I think the newspaper is the greatest thing we do at Cherokee Nation for is informing people. And I'd like to make a motion that we put it back like it was before the budget hearings. I don't know exactly how much money we're talking about. I guess $104,000.
Here.
And give him 1 year to come up with a different plan. I think he needs some time.
$244,550.
We have is that a friendly or a motion?
It's a motion.
A motion, is there a second? Second, okay. We have a motion and second on the floor. Mr. Garvin wants to add the newspaper back in, but now you need to be aware if you add the newspaper back in, you're taking the Head Start out, because that's where the newspaper money went, was to the Head Start program. And I want to speak to that. I have been working with Brian for about month now. He has come up with an excellent business plan. In fact, I bought the first $10 subscription, and I would encourage everyone here, you get 12 once-a-month papers will be sent to your house for an amount of $10. We have asked him to watch very closely whether our elders were affected so that we could address that issue if it came up in the next year. I'm just very proud of what Brian has done. I think he's on his way now to truly making the Phoenix an independent paper. It's hard to say a paper's independent when they're under the nation that they're supposed to be writing about. And he has taken the initiative and come up with a plan by selling bundles. The council house will be buying a bundle of 100. We'll buy another bundle if we need it. People can come in and pick up that paper for free. We're asking the Hard Rock to do the same thing, give a paper to everyone that signs in for a room so that they can see the good things that Cherokee Nation are doing. We're asking Health to step up to the bat, buy the paper, buy the bundles of 100, and I'm looking at Connie back in the back, to place those free newspapers at all of the clinic sites so that people can pick up a free newspaper. We are asking departments to continue to support the newspaper with their ads that they have in the past, to continue supporting them at the same level. I believe that we're putting them on the road to what I see is becoming completely on their own. And we have worked closely with Brian to do this, and he has graciously stepped up to the bat. I mean, he has made a hand, and I'm very proud to say I was very happy to work with you on this project. While they are being cut, their money on a very flat budget year is going to a very needed service, which is going to Head Start, that has operated for many, many years on 80% of their budgetary needs, having to basically beg, borrow, or steal $1.4 million a year. And we're putting the money where we believe it should be at this time, which is in the #1 Head Start in the country. Not just the state of Oklahoma, it's in the entire country. And we believe that they should be rewarded for that. And this is not to take away from the newspaper. We've asked several entities, let's get you on your feet. We're not here to support you forever. You're set up as a nonprofit or you're set up as a business. Let's see if we can get you started generating some income. There's two ways to look at a budget cut. One is I need to generate revenue, or I start lopping off people. We would rather for him to have taken what Brian did. No one is leaving his staff. His whole staff is being maintained because he has figured out a way, with slight input from the communities, slight input from the Cherokee people, and I just truly believe that very few of our people are going to tell us that they can't afford $10. Very few of our people are going to say they can't read the newspaper when the bundles will be available by all the departments. So I will not respectfully be supporting Mr. Garvin's motion to put them back in the budget. We have a very flat budget this year. It was hard decisions had to be made, and I'm sticking with the Head Start kids. Of 1,000 kids represented across the 14 counties. I'm sorry, folks, but when it comes to newspaper or kids, the kids win every time with me, because I can read the newspaper online for free even though I bought a subscription. And I would encourage everyone, ante up that $10. Not going to break anybody in this room. I bought the first subscription, and we want to see 10,000 people buy them. Thank you. And I think somebody down here, Julia.
My citizens, my constituents at large, rely heavily on this newspaper. They're not in situations where they can just go talk to their neighbors, and the discussions of things that are going on in the community, that they hear, you know, backstories to things from family members and so on, to the extent that people here locally do. And I've done extensive surveying and interviewing as part of research projects in my academic life of the at-large people, and almost without exception, this is the #1 place where they get information. But what I repeatedly also have heard ever since it stopped coming automatically, because a couple of years ago there were ads that ran for a couple of months because you had so many bad addresses and so forth, saying if you want to continue to receive this, you need to let us know. And ever since, you know, again, droves of people come up to me at meetings and say, I used to get the Phoenix, but I stopped receiving it, you know, I don't know what happened. And I have to explain to them, well, you need to go and request it now, because they didn't see the ads, you know, they didn't see the notices of that. And I just think a lot of people already fell off the wagon. Well, I should probably use a different metaphor, but anyway, a different analogy. But they fell off the apple cart, we'll say, when that happened. And I think this is going to contribute to many others also, just not hearing what's going on, not. And it's not that they're not willing to pay the $10 or whatever, they just won't know that that's what they have to do now. And I rather suspect that's not simply going to be a problem for people at large. I think that's, you know, that's probably going to happen here locally as well. I think the, okay. Yeah. We're looking at the budget numbers for Head Start administration right now, for Head Start just across the board, and it's showing a remaining amount of $1 million at the end of the 2012, or at the end of this time period, and we know some of that has probably been spent in the last months, but nevertheless. And this is the analysis that actually we'd gotten from some other places recently, is that in fact, Head Start is not hurting for money, that they have surpluses at the end of the year. So I'm not sure that I accept that argument either. And then I think Dawn's suggestion that we give this a period of time, because to do this overnight is extraordinarily abrupt. And I really commend the Phoenix and the people who worked with them to make sure that employees were not impacted, the jobs were saved. But what's happening instead of employees being impacted is that citizens are going to be impacted by this. And I'd really like to see a plan where neither happens. And that is not something you can come up with in 24 to 48 hours. This is going to be a process of earning support and gaining support from other sources. And I think it's very reasonable, this motion, that we continue to fund the Phoenix for another year at the full amount that was in the original budget. Head Start has surpluses, it appears, at the end of the fiscal year. They're funded to the same amount or approximately for the next year already. And I think it's a reasonable period of time for the Phoenix to come up with a truly viable plan to be truly independent in a way that also does not impact the citizens adversely. So I'll be supporting the motion.
Council Lady Fish and Hawk.
Does anybody around here know why Head Start was started? It was to help your impoverished families, and it was to help the kids get ahead and get up to the same speed that other people that had other families that was more lucky, for lack of a better word. That's why it was started. I would like to yield my time to Verna to talk about the Head Start program for a minute, because Brian has sat here and has told us he doesn't need the money. He has stepped up to the plate. He has told you he can make ends meet, and even better, in the Heritage Center, he told y'all he wasn't going to lay off anybody, and y'all still ain't happy. I don't think you can do anything to make you happy tonight. But Verna, would you please step forward and talk to us just for a minute or two about your Head Start program and how much money you come up with every year?
Thank you, Councilman Fishing Hawk. I would be happy to tell you about Head Start, but I don't think I can do it in 2 or 3 minutes. But I'd like to recognize all the Head Start folks that are here. Would you stand, please? I've worked with most of these people for 20 and 30 years who've given of their lives to Head Start children and families. We met today and I enlightened them of the intent for the budget, and we were excited beyond words. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because I feel that strongly about it. We sit in the back seat to other tribes who give generously. And Councilman Jordan and Byrd, I'm sorry if you've heard this before, but to hear how much other tribes value their Head Start staff and give to the Head Start program, I'd like to know how much you think we have a surplus, Councilman Coates?
I'm going by what it says in our budget book. So that's what we've been told.
I beg to differ, because we have to operate on a shoestring budget. As Councilman Jordan said, we only operate at 80%. The rest of it, we have to generate in-kind services, and the Cherokee Nation takes IDC right off the top. So I'm not sure how much that is. I would guess 1.4 million, thereabouts. We are mandated to spend in certain areas with education, with facilities, with curriculum, supplies, very little to salaries. We lose folks every day to the public school. We appropriate so much for training, and then they go on to public schools, and we have to start over. So this was an attempt to retain qualified folks that have been here for years. And so I'm here to represent them every day. They are a wonderful group of people that you all have working for you to work with the most vulnerable population of the Cherokee Nation. And I ask you to give them consideration.
Thank you, Verna.
Verna, thank you very much. That was very impassionate. I think it was very heartfelt, and just like you said, it was the most vulnerable people in Cherokee Nation. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, will we be able to ask questions of Ms. Verna?
You guys have had your opportunity. I mean, it's long in the day. We're not going to start going back now. We have one more, and then Mr. Walking Stick. Councilman
Thank you, Ms.
Hoskins.
Speaker. I'll be brief. With all due respect to Councilor Garvin, I won't be supporting his motion. I understand what he's trying to do, but we have heard from Mr. Pollard that they have a plan that, frankly, he sounds excited about executing and getting the opportunity to move the Phoenix towards fiscal independence, which I think is going to be good for the nation in the long run. What more can you say about Head Start? The fact of the matter is the most vulnerable families in Cherokee Nation depend on Head Start to get those kids off on the right footing so that this next generation can maybe come up with fewer struggles than their parents. That's what their parents want. That's what the teachers at Head Start want. And we want to keep those teachers. They're great teachers, but we live in this market economy where they're tempted to go to public schools to get more pay, and who could blame them? But we really want to keep them, and they're Cherokee citizens, by the way. Thank you.
Councilman Walking Stick.
Well, first I'd like to appreciate everyone for sticking around here tonight. You guys are troopers in my book. It's 9 o'clock right now. We start at 6. But anyways, I'm an educator, so I'm a little biased. And you know, that is the foundation of our youth. And but the other sides are really good as well. But I think we beat this horse pretty good to the dirt. And so anyways, I'd like to call for the question, if I may.
I was looking for that to happen.
Thank you.
Okay. There's been a call for the question. That stops all debate. This is on Mr. Garvin's motion to put the newspaper back in, and that would take the money was redirected to the Head Start, so that would take the money out of Head Start.
This is for 1 year, is that?
For 1 year, yes.
For 1 year.
Well, we're only passing a budget for a year. We have to go through this every year. Sometimes I wish it could be a 4 or 5 year budget. Based on the call for the question, Shelley, A yes vote would be for Mr. Garvin's motion to change a portion of the budget, the big budget. Okay.
Jack Baker,
No.
Joe Bird,
No.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Jody Fishinghawk,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
No.
Janelle Fulbright,
No.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Frankie Hargis,
No.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
No.
Tana Glory Jordan,
No.
Lee Keener,
No.
Dick Lay,
Nope.
Curtis Snell,
Nope.
David Thornton,
No.
David Walkingstick,
No.
Carrie Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Bill England.
Yes.
4 yes and 13 no.
Okay. So that didn't pass. Now we're back to the main motion. Is there a call for the question? Okay.
Baker, I like to call for the question.
Okay. We're back to the main motion. There has been a question called. There has been 3 amendments, 2 made by Mr. Lay and 1 made, Mr. Lay took all 3 amendments have been made by Mr. Lay. This is the main budget. All minds clear. And we'll do that by roll call.
Frankie Hargis,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
Tana Glory Jordan,
Yes.
Lee Keener,
No.
Dick Lay,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
No.
David Walkingstick, Carrie Cowan Watts,
No.
Bill England,
No.
Jack Baker,
No.
Joe Bird,
Yes.
Julia Coates,
No.
Jody Fishinghawk,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
No.
Janelle Fulbright,
Yes.
Don Garvin.
No.
And this was just operating budget.
9 yes and 8 no.
Okay, the budget for next year has passed, and I want to thank you all from a very personal part of my heart for the Head Start. I wanted to see them succeed. There's many good things about that budget, but anytime we can help the kids, and the newspaper was gracious enough to step up to assist, I appreciate that. Now, we're back to one other budget, which is the capital improvements budget. Council Lady Fishinghawk, I'm gonna have you take that.
This is the fiscal year 2013's capital budget. Request also went through the Executive and Finance Committee of the Tribal Council during the budget hearing process, and it totals $103,547,975. 2/3 of this budget pertains to the roads project, and the remaining 1/3 is reflected in the health service group and tribal facilities, and I move for its approval.
Second.
Okay. Questions or comments? Dare we ask for our acclamation vote on this, possibly?
On the capital budget?
Yes. Did you have questions? Oh, okay. All right. Council Lady,
Is our treasurer still here?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question on this capital budget. I know you have a list of proposed expenditures attached, I appreciate that. But do you have a master capital plan? No?
I would have to defer that question to Bruce Davis.
Okay, Bruce,
And he is still here.
lucky him. Oh,
What was the question?
are you sleepy? Do we have a master capital plan in place? I know there's a list of proposed expenditures, but do we have a master plan? Capital plan?
well, I think she's for the big
Where's Charles' head?
He left.
We are working on a master plan. Yes, ma'am, we are. We do not have one in place. No, ma'am.
How do you know what all these expenditures are? How do they fit into some plan?
I'll refer to my treasurer. Get up, Chris.
We'll be deferring back and forth all night if that's okay. You know, I've been in this role about 10 months, and my understanding of the capital budget is this is something that was carved out new last year. And the capital budget consists of projects that are over a year, over $1 million. And this was agreed on by the former treasurer and your executive director of financial oversight, what these projects will be. And so we're in a bit of uncertain territory. This is new. And so I guess what I would like to solicit from you is some feedback as to what you would like to see coming from this capital budget. You know, it's for us it's a place to, you know, park those types of expenditures.
Yeah, because the master plan should be fit into the overall vision, and I'm not sure what that is, so that's what I would request.
Let me say that we'll have something for you at the next council meeting.
All right, thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this side? Okay. Councilman Burton?
Yes, Bruce Lacy, do you have a copy of the master plan that was in place when you came on board? I was thinking what you might do is take that master plan and maybe amend it and revise it and get back with us on that. There was a master plan, correct?
Yes, we do have one, Joe.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's going to deviate some.
We have prioritized different projects that we've got in place.
Yes.
With Chief Baker and Charles Head and the administration. And, you know, seeing how we finish up with the budget, then we can move forward with that.
Yes, you're going to deviate some with probably different priorities, of course.
Yes.
But you'll have something to start with.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Council Lady Fish and Hunt.
Lacey, 2/3 of this budget is we really don't need a master plan for because it's tied up roads projects. The 1/3 that's left is your health service group, mainly. That's the very lion's share of the last third, and that's what we talked about in health today.
That's correct.
There's probably not a couple of million I know in the Veterans Center, but that's about it, folks. That's your master plan.
If you got the veterans plan, you've got 90%.
Yeah. So I was going to clear that up.
If you keep taking the money away from me, I don't have a master plan.
Other questions or comments? Okay, this is a vote on the capital improvements budget as presented. I guess now we better take a roll call vote. Yes, you'd be passing the capital improvements budget, and no, you would not be.
Chet Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
Tyler Glory Jordan,
Yes.
Lee Keener,
No.
Dick Lay,
Yes.
Curtis Snell, David Thornton,
Yes.
David Walkingstick. Eric Allen Watts,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Joe Byrd,
Yes.
Julianne Coates,
Yes.
Jody Fishinghop,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
No.
Janelle Fulbright,
Yes.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Frankie Hargis.
Yes.
Yes and 2 noes.
Okay. Capital improvements budget for 2013 has passed. Now, we have 4 items that were added to the agenda. Those are items 16 through 19. Oh, we haven't amended? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm asking for a motion for amendment to add these 4 items. Okay. Mr. Baker, and it's been a long evening. Y'all working me to death. So we have a motion and second now to amend the budget to add
4 resolutions that came out of the health committee.
the 4 out of health committee that were discussed this afternoon. And on your single page, there's 16 through 19. Are there questions or comments?
I make a motion that we approve, we have to vote on the amendment, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of amending the budget signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Baker?
I make a motion that we approve all 4 in total.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, we're going to vote on all 4 of them at the same time and
Acclamation.
by acclamation. And for the audience, these are placing 2 different people on 2 different boards, health boards that are basically voluntary boards, and it would be Deborah Proctor and Connie Davis. All in favor can signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. The folks were here at one time. I think maybe they've all gone home. Well, Miss Davis is here, but she's an old hand. Is Miss Proctor here? Not to take away. Thank you for serving. Okay. Are there any announcements to be made here at the end? We'll start down here. Ms. Coates.
I just wanted to announce, I don't know if people know this, but I was getting texts throughout this whole process that this was not being streamed tonight. The stream was not going through. And I just want to really ask if there can be people here to be very diligent to make sure, because we had a number of substantial issues on the agenda tonight that I really think the Cherokee people needed to know about and to understand. And this meeting apparently was not being streamed.
We'll check into that. I bet it'll be archived though. Okay, other comments?
I just want to thank Chief Baker, Lacey Horn, and the staff and all the groups for the tremendous amount of work that goes into the budget. I know that we agree and sometimes agree to disagree on this body, but thank you for that and for your service to the tribe. It really is appreciated. Thank you.
Other announcements? Yes, Council Lady Fraley.
13 and under Little League baseball team from Locust Grove won the 2012 World Series in Kansas City. And Jody, Locust Grove beat Stillwell Friday night.
I figured you was going to tell me your 2 twins was on the World Series game.
Yeah. Any other comments, Mr. Thornton?
Yeah, but we had a bunch of Indians there now.
I keep thinking you're right-handed because you always go to that side. I'd like to announce that the Vian cheerleader squad 2012 just won the 3A regional championship, and we're proud of them for doing that. But I also want everyone to realize that football is Vian's game, and there's very few schools around that will argue with you about that. And I want you to realize that we've had in my family someone either cheerleading or on the football team in the past decades. And of course, we're all proud of that too. But I'm real proud of those cheerleaders. There's lots of Cherokees on that cheerleading team. And I think they've really done a good job. Thank you.
Councilman Walking Stick.
Beat Meredith's football.
You want to lay some money on the table?
The gaming commission.
October the 16th, we're having a community meeting at the Tahquah Community Building. And Chief Bird, myself, and Tina, we're going to go catch some sand bass, have fish fry, and we're going to take you guys this crappie.
Actually, it's brisket. It's brisket.
Oh, it's brisket?
We can do fish too.
We can do both. We can do both. We can do both.
Sand bass and brisket.
Mr. Garvin.
I just want to announce that dinner is planned tonight, and I make a motion to adjourn.
We got one other announcement. Can you hold that motion for just a second?
26th of September is going to be a dinner at Bell School, and we invite everybody to attend. Beg your pardon? Oh, and on the
16th.
What is it? The 22nd is CNI's picnic in Stillwell at the grounds.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you for waiting with us and being part of our audience tonight.